What's good, everybody? Peace be upon you all, man. Flash Speaks back, man. Another video. We're on our way to the gym. We got to get it in today, man. This is leg day. We got to go hard because we took off a couple days, man. You know what I'm saying? We got back at it yesterday. You know, tilt chest and shoulders and all that. Today is legs, though. And after that, we're going to go home, eat a big old plate of salmon, you know what I'm saying? Some sweet potatoes, you know, with no sugar on them, just some butter. We're going to make them nice and savory. You dig me? You know what I mean? And that's going to be the post-workout meal. You feel what I'm saying? So anyway, we got the NFL draft coming up. No. And while I'm eating that salmon, and we're going to watch Andor. We're going to see what's up with Andor. Season 2 just dropped last night. I got to see what's up. I heard they put out 3 episodes. We're probably going to knock out about 1. You know what I mean? We ain't got 3 hours to be sitting down watching TV because we got to hit these streets and get some things done. So anyway, we got the NFL draft coming up. Thursday night is the start of it. And everybody's discussing, man, what is the NFL going to do this time around? You got, in the quarterback spots, you got for the most part the 2 guys everyone's talking about, of course, is Shedduer Sanders, Cam Ward from Miami, you know, and there's a couple other guys, you know. And what teams are going to do, what's going to happen. Of course, you got Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter is another one. People talking about, you know, some other players. Now, what I'm interested in seeing is kind of what happens with Shedduer, obviously. I'm hearing a lot of talk about him going to the Saints at 9 because, I don't know, people are really funny about Shedduer. And I don't know what it is about certain quarterbacks. People just real funny about it, like they don't know. They not sure. They need more info, you know. And Cam Ward, I guess, because Jalen Hurts was just the winner of the last Super Bowl, and he's shown to be like pretty much successful for the Philadelphia Eagles, you know, despite all them haters out there and all that who just don't get what makes him special. Teams are going to look into, damn, how can I get a kid like that, you know? But I think what still happens now is teams and people focus more so on the outward skill set. Like if all you see Jalen Hurts is, you know, as a quarterback, you know, that can run a little bit, who can squat 600 pounds, you know, who can make pretty much all the basic throws. That's all you kind of see. I don't think you get it. You know, same thing with Tom Brady. Is if you see Tom Brady just a guy that can sit there in the pocket and just, you know, make timing throws and that's it. So you're looking at it like, yeah, I'm going to get me the next Tom Brady. So I'm going to go out, I'm going to get a guy, man, that stands there and just do timing throws. I think you end up jammed up. And that's what happened, I believe, with the Patriots when they went after the guy they got from Alabama who didn't last. You know, because they're thinking, damn, all right, if I could just make him be like Tom Brady, because you look at his skill set ain't that different from Tom Brady's, you know? But the problem is people forget it's more than just skill set, man. It's more than just your size and your dimensions, man. To being a successful athlete, to being a winner, there are other things, there are intangibles that you really can't teach, man, that you have to figure out ways to detect with players. And I think that's the thing, man. Which one of these guys have that? Does Shedduer Sanders have that? And that I'm talking about is that intangible poise, clutchness, you know, the ability to block out all the BS that's going on around them and execute. You know, those throughout time have been the best quarterbacks in every age and every era, man. Skill set is important, But the skill set only takes you but so far. You know? Jalen Hurts, for example, his skill set is probably nothing compared to Randall Cunningham, to Donovan McNabb, to a number of other players. People swear his skill set is nothing compared to Josh Allen and so on. You know? But why is it that if he faces these guys, why does he usually come out beating them? And even in losses, he goes toe-to-toe with them. Why? It's because the reality of the NFL is that most quarterbacks, most of these guys, are actually pretty close when it comes to skill set. By that I mean, most of these guys can make every throw that the playbook requires. Most of these guys can, at least, to different degrees, read a defense. If you are in the NFL, you got to be able to do most of that stuff. If not, you shouldn't even be there. So the main separator oftentimes is what goes on between the ears and what's going on in the chest, man, the heart and the mind. And Jalen Hurts is elite there. Period. You can't even say that. You's a clown. Because you're not man enough to just admit something, man. That's obvious. You feel me? But this ain't about Jalen Hurts, but the question now is, does a guy like Travis, not Travis, does a guy like Shedduer have that? Does a guy like Cam Ward have that? What about these other quarterbacks? You got to try your best to try to determine how these guys perform under pressure, and so on. Are they leaders, man? Can they lead stars? That's important too, that you can lead stars, Now, I'm also interested in Travis Hunter, where he goes. Love him as a player, man. One of my favorite players to watch in college last year, without a doubt. Now, he's tough. He's a tough one though, because I'm looking at it. If I'm a GM, do I pick a guy like Travis Hunter? Especially, do I take him high? Because he's a two-way player, which is so rare that it's not even done anymore. It's an old lost art. And then I'm hearing he's a two-way player who demands, that he plays both sides, that they allow him to play corner and wide receiver, man. The last guy I remember coming into the league like that, I think, was Chris Gamble. He used to play for Ohio State, ended up with the Carolina Panthers as a cornerback, but I think he stopped. I think he was full-time corner once he got to the league. So really, even Charles Woodson, who did that in college, won the Heisman Trophy, like Travis did. When he came to the NFL, you didn't really see him playing on offense. So I don't know, man. Me personally, I don't know. I might stay away from a guy like that, unless he's going to be so elite at corner that he's just shutting down everything. My concern would be him getting hurt. How do you not on offense, man, guys, not purposely take shots at him to try to hurt him so that he's ineffective on defense, and vice versa? Those are the questions I have with that. And then when it's time to pay the guy, what type of pay scale is he on? He want to play full-time offense and full-time defense. Listen, I wish the brother well, man. I hope he succeeds at everything he wants, but if it's me, that's a tough call right there, man. There's other cornerbacks I like too in the draft. Besides him, man, do I take one of them? Who are not going to give me all those problems, demanding that he play on both sides? Or do I go with Travis? Take that risk, man. And I'm hearing a lot of people say he might end up going to Cleveland. Well, I guess Cleveland could take that risk because what they got to lose, right? The New York Football Giants, what do? Well, I believe they just signed Russell Wilson, right? So if they're smart, though, there's no way you can see Russell Wilson as a long-time solution. He's got to be a stopgap quarterback, I think. So if I'm the Giants, you know, I will sign Russell Wilson. I get that, but I'm also drafting my guy for the future, and I'm gonna let him play behind Russell Wilson for a year or two before handing the reins over to him. It's just the way I would do it. You know, I would do the same thing with an Aaron Rodgers. You know, if I'm a team, you know, that would pick him up, and let a young guy play behind him a year or two. You know, before sitting, because most of them guys, man, I think that's the reason why most young quarterbacks don't work out is you start them off too early. You know, sure, you have your Jaden Danielses and, you know, and those guys who work out starting right away, but that they're not everybody. Those guys are the rare exceptions, you know, come in ready to go. You know, have all of the tools that it takes, man, to go out and be a starter. How many other guys are there that really aren't ready to do that, but could possibly be saved and have an actual career if they were allowed to, you know, sit and watch it, you know, behind someone for a couple years? You know, these are questions I have, man. So, the Philadelphia Eagles, my team, of course, there's been a lot of talk about whether or not we, you know, will move up because we supposedly have, like, I think 20 picks over the next 2 seasons or something like that. And people wondering, you know, because Howie Roseman has his reputation of being very aggressive. Will he move up? Will he do that? There's been speculation about A.J. Brown, which local speculation, which I don't get. Possibly, you know, he might be interested in moving A.J. Brown in an attempt to maybe grab someone like an Abdul Carter at 5 if he drops to that, or and to all of that stuff, man. I just think that's just a bunch of craziness, and I don't get. Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl, you know, as is, and you coming off of you know, the next year where most of those guys, most of your big pieces and cogs have been signed. Your team is going to be very different, you know, and this idea that, you got to adjust because the NFL is going to adjust. No, well, they got to catch up to us, you know. So I couldn't see the sense in the Eagles doing anything but rolling out pretty much damn near the same team they had last season. And as far as salary cap stuff for the future, what the hell are you worried about that for? You know, the guys you got for the team that you have this year is pretty much paid for, you know. So don't worry, don't count eggs that ain't hatched. You need to count the ones that you got, the hatched chickens that you got in your hand already. You know, that doesn't make any sense. So I'm hoping Howard Roseman don't do no stupid stuff like that. Now, if he's going to package some picks and move up or move back and grab other guys or whatever, I trust him when it comes to that. But you go out there trying to, like, move an AJ or something like that, man, that's where y'all going to see me come on here tripping. I don't want to see that. That makes no sense to me. So these are the things we'll be looking out for, man. See what goes on. You know what I mean? So let me get myself ready, man. Going ahead, knock out this annoying ass leg day. But you got to do it, man. You know, you don't want to be one of them dudes walking around and you got to keep leaning. You know, you got to keep crossing your legs. You know what that means? That means your legs are not strong enough to hold up the weight of your body. Right? You see somebody like standing outside and they just keep leaning. You know, that's what that means. You always want to be able to stand like a soldier on your own too. You know, when you can't do that, you got weak legs, man. Some squats in, bro. Get them in. All right. Get with y'all, bro. Peace out.